Hi everybody, thank you so much for the great feedback on my last tutorial, the knot cane. A lot of people seem to like it, so I thought I wanted to show you another version of that same cane. And also I was again making a bowl, a big one. And today we're going to make the bowl together. And also the knot is constructed a little bit differently because this is just a single knot on a single piece of rope. It's not a net. Plus, today I want to share with you my secret for this beautiful gold blend, which is very similar to the other ikat blend, except the colors, of course. I'm also using 4 colors that have this gradient from very light color to a very dark color. And I also have 4 sheets of 10 by 12 centimeters at a level 0, which is the thickest level of my machine. And my main color here is this yellow, which is quite pale. I mixed it with some white. And my darkest tone is this yellow with black. Now, when you mix yellow and black, it usually becomes green because the black, it has a lot of blue inside. So I added a tiny bit of red here just to cut the green. And here it's also this yellow with black and red, but here I was using more red than black, and here I was using more black than red. So these 2 colors, they're gonna balance each other in the final blend. We have a quite warm orangey tone here and a quite cold greenish tone. And together they're gonna make a neutral shadow color. And then for the outline, I'm using a 5th color, which is even darker than this one. In the other blend, we were using this dark color for the outline. You could also do that, but here I decided to add an even darker color, so the rope is gonna pop even more. So I was putting it together like in the other tutorial, and I'm gonna process it the same way with a little difference. In the other tutorial we were doing 4 rounds in the machine, and here I'm gonna do only 3. And like this, our blend is gonna be less detailed, which means it has less lines, and the lines are thicker. And they're gonna show more because we're gonna make this thing quite small. I will reduce it in this direction to a length of 75 centimeters, and then I will cut it into 25 pieces of 3 centimeters each. I keep them exactly the same way that I cut them off the cane. So they all have the same orientation now, and I will process them all in the same way. So they will keep their orientation. And still, you might want to check each slice individually before you're putting it together for the orientation. Like here I have the shorter shadow and the longer shadow, and they need to be on the corresponding side. And if this seems too much to you, you might as well do the blend differently with the highlight in the center, and then it will be symmetrical and you don't need to care about that whole orientation business. But personally, I think it adds something. So I will do this very carefully, and I keep an eye on my orientation. And what I'm doing here is a straight piece of rope that is gonna connect to our knot. And obviously we need less of it than in the other knot, so I'm using only 6 segments for that. Like that. And the other segments we're going to use for the knot. And again, I will prepare some elements. I will make a short curve using 4 segments, and then I will make a longer curve with 8 segments, and the remaining 7 segments I will make into a straight piece of rope. So on these 3 pieces I was already making my cut here, and I created this last little segment like in the other tutorial, here and here and here also, and it makes these kind of straight edges on the inside. And then we'll start with this straight piece, and like on the other cane we'll cut it in 2, but here well, instead of making a straight cut that's perpendicular to our rope, we make a diagonal cut. And this is actually the main difference to the other knot, because this is going to create like different directions inside our knot. So I'm basically here, I'm cutting diagonally through my 3rd segment. Like this. And now this short piece, it's gonna join again to the short curve. And then this piece, it's gonna go inside here like before, aligning that side here first, and then attaching this side, and I can already push that inside a little bit to make the knot more tight. And now this piece again, it's gonna go here. Yeah, I'll put it a bit lower, like that, so it's not aligned here, but it goes a bit over. Now this rope here, we'll continue it with our straight rope. And here again, watch the orientation, you know, my long shadow is here on that bottom side and here too. So I'll touch it like that, and it makes a little curve here. It's coming out like that. then again I'll cut this here straight. This is my tessellation. Let's say here, kind of close. Yeah, let's make it here. And this other piece, I'll take it on the other side. And again, I cut this corner. And attach it to the other side. And then this piece can go here. Now, this is not a continuation of that rope, but rather of that rope. So it attaches here quite low. Like that. So now it's ready for packing. I'll pack it again in that porcelain color of the Fimo brand, and I'll start with my little wedges. I was also adding a thin layer of that background color all around on top of my wedges, except on these two sides that need to stay blank. And now is a good moment to correct the shape, and you can put some pressure now from the outside and force it into a nice knot shape. And I made the whole thing nice and round, and I created a corner here to preserve that nice heart shape, and I created a corner here, and then this rope, it's bended like that, and I decided to bend the other rope the other way, so it creates a nice S-twist that is running through our knot. So I push it up here and pull it down there. And also you want to double check the sides. Everything should be nice and parallel and straight. And then we can add some more clay, and I will use a lot of it. I prepared some blocks here already that fit more or less to my cane. This one and this one, like that. And now I'm compressing the whole thing and connect it, force all the air out, and make sure that it's nice and dense inside. And as you can see, I'm kind of losing my nice outside shape, but that's not a problem because the inside has priority. And in the end, when the whole thing is nice and solid and well connected, then we can cut the outside and make it into a nice rectangular cane. So here I had to cut quite close to my knot, so I added some more layers of that background color because it's nice to have some space around the motif, and it's also going to be cleaner when you reduce it. The motif is going to be less distorted. And I will reduce it just a little bit because I want some big knots. So I will cut off a few slices off the big cane, and then I make it smaller and I cut some more slices. And also I was making a second cane that is just a plain piece of rope in the same colors with the same background, and I tried to cut it roughly in the same position so I can combine those two and alternate them to create a nice rhythm for my knots. So I was tiling a few slices together and I connected them firmly by rubbing over the seams through a sheet of wax paper, and I will trim off the sides, make them clean, and I will make a few more of these ropes, I think, and I will arrange them into a nice composition. And I was arranging my ropes and I was filling the gaps between with my plain solid background color. and I was unifying the whole thing, erasing the seams by rubbing between two sheets of wax paper. So the whole thing is one sheet and it's roughly square. I didn't finish the sides because we're gonna trim them anyways. And I'm gonna wrap this sheet as one piece around my bowl and then bake it together and then remove it off the bowl, because I don't want to make a covered bowl. I want to make a bowl that's only polymer clay. So I'm using the bowl only as a mold, and as a bowl you can choose anything, any material that's heat resistant. I like to use this metal, mainly because it's nice and smooth, and also the metal bowls, they don't have this rim here like most ceramic bowls do. So it's a nice smooth surface, and I will wrap my veneer around here in one piece. And that's a quite rough way of making a bowl. There's much more sophisticated ways. I'm sure you can find it easily on YouTube, but that's the way I do it, and it kind of works. So I'm placing the bowl upside down on a sheet of wax paper, and then I'm taking my veneer and positioning it in the middle, and then I start to slowly wrap it around the sides, and you can see I have a lot of excess material here, so I will try to avoid creating folds, and instead I'm trying to compress the whole material around the sides evenly to fit it to my bowl. So it actually did create some folds here and here, but I made sure that those folds are in the white, in the plain color, so I can cut them away and then close this seam and put a lot of pressure to thoroughly close it, and then I will roughly trim away the excess. And then as the last thing, we want to cut a clean edge here around, and I'll use this little pack here as a spacer, and I will rest my knife here on top of that pack and keep it at that level all the time, and then I cut around by twisting the bowl. So I was really taking my time here to work on the surface, make it nice and smooth as much as possible, getting all the air out, and then the rest you can do with sanding. And now it's ready for baking. And for the removing after baking, it might be a little bit difficult because it has a tendency to stick to that bowl, the clay. So what I do is I take it out of the oven while it's still hot, right after baking. Be careful not to burn yourself. I'm wearing gloves for that. And then while the clay is still hot and soft, I remove it from the bowl and I go under this rim here a little bit with a knife, or even better with this very thin, flexible spatula tool, and I pop it off the bowl, and then I put it back onto the bowl and put it back into the oven to let it cool down slowly. And it turned out quite nicely. I was already sanding this one. The sanding can be a bit annoying because it's quite labor intense, but it's totally worth it. Actually, I think the more you sand it, the nicer it gets. And I don't know if you noticed, but this is a different bowl than what I was showing you in the beginning, because actually I made two. So there's lots of options you can play around with, and I want to give you even more options in the next tutorials that are already planned, because we're gonna make some canes that fit very nicely to this design. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.